and welcome to yet another interesting time in basic science and technology. My name is Gogo Ella Thompson, and today we'll be looking at a very interesting topic called the Internet under the theme Basic Knowledge of Information Technology. When you hear the word Internet, what first comes to your mind? We're going to look at all these and more, so let's proceed. Every day, we see people use computers and other smart devices, like their mobile phones and tablets, to connect with people around the world. They also connect to information around the world. Have you ever stopped to wonder how this is possible? The first answer that comes to mind is the Internet. So, in this lesson, we're going to look at the Internet, and at the end of the lesson, you should be able to do a few things. Let's see those things. You should be able to describe the Internet. You should also be able to describe the World Wide Web. Next, you should be able to mention at least 4 benefits of the Internet. And finally, you should be able to mention 5 misuses of the Internet. It promises to be an interesting time, and I hope you're ready. Let's proceed. What is the Internet? To continue, let's find out what's in the name Internet. If we break down the word Internet, I'm sure you can see 2 new words. The first is inter and the other is net. If we expand these 2 words further, we have 2 new words. We have international and network. So the Internet is an international network of computers. What does this mean? We'll find out. When 2 computers are linked such that they can communicate with each other, by communicating means they can share information and other resources, a simple computer network is formed. So imagine a scenario where different computers in different parts of the world are able to communicate and share information. That's the power of the Internet. The Internet was first conceived by an organization called the Advanced Research Projects Agency, ARPANET. This is why the Internet was first called ARPANET in 1969. There are companies that give us access to the Internet. They are called Internet Service Providers, or ISPs. They have special computers called servers that help us connect to the Internet. And we have some of them in Nigeria. For example, we have Cyberspace, Smile, Spectranet, we have MTN, Globacom, and so much more. So what does this mean? For you to have access to the Internet, you must subscribe to these Internet service providers. To subscribe means to pay a fee. So you have to say, oh, my subscription has ended. That means they no longer have access to the Internet. Having settled subscriptions, your computers must be linked to the Internet wirelessly or with wires. Let's look at different technologies that help us connect to the Internet using both wireless technology and wired technology. You can see that we have a lot of methods to connect to the Internet. Some of them are done through wireless means, while others are done through wired means. Let's have a look. The first one we have here is the dial-up network, and that is a telephone, a landline. For you to connect to the Internet, a number is dialed, and then you have access to the Internet. It's a very old technology. It's gradually going out, so most places don't use it again. Next, we have the digital subscriber line. This is quite faster than the dial-up network. One part of the cable is connected to a telephone line, and the other part is connected to your computer. So on some computers, you actually see the portion labeled DSL. This is also an old technology, so on most modern computers, you might not see it. What you find on some modern computers is the next one we're going to talk about, Ethernet. The Ethernet cable is faster than the digital subscriber line and the dial-up network. So one end of your Ethernet cable can be connected to a modem, and then the other end is connected to your computer. You also need to recognize the ports where it should go in. Some have labels as well, Ethernet. And then all these we've described, the dial-up network, the digital subscriber line, and the Ethernet ways of connecting to the Internet are all wired networks. Why? Because you have to physically connect wires or cables to your computer before you have access to the internet. The next set of technologies we're going to describe are the wireless technology. It means we can connect to the internet without wires. The first is the Wi-Fi. Remember we earlier said that with Ethernet, one portion of the cable is connected to a modem, while the other portion is connected to your computer. But with the Wi-Fi, when your modem is turned on, you can connect wirelessly to the modem and then you have internet access. The next we have is the cellular network, which we find on our phones. The next we have is the cellular network. This kind of internet access we get through our smartphones, our mobile phones. So whenever we turn on our mobile data, we're working with the cellular network. Remember, mobile phones also work with Wi-Fi. Most of them have Wi-Fi capabilities. And finally, we have the satellite technology. This works from the orbit, from space. So we have internet access through the satellite, which is in space. So all of these, the Wi-Fi, cellular network, and satellite network, are wireless ways of connecting to the internet. So the next question is, after using any of these methods to connect to the internet, what next? What can I do with it? Let's find out. You have access to a very large space of information called the World Wide Web. The World Wide Web has so much of human knowledge, so much anybody can add, you can view, you can collect from it. And it was invented by Sir Tim Berners-Lee in 1990, and he has fought to make the web accessible to everybody. There are three technologies guiding the use of the web. The first is the hypertext markup language. Now, we mentioned that the web is a large space of information, and this means information stored on the web are saved in this language, hypertext markup language. And then the next technology is called the URL, Uniform Resource Locator. Since the web is a very large space of information, we must have a way of locating information on that large space, and this is done through the URL. And finally, we have the third technology, which is the HTTP, which stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Remember, the web is a large space, so there must be order. This technology helps in the organization of information on the web. Now, when we think of the web, there are certain terms you must know. The first is website. Remember we said the web is a large space of information. So what does this mean? Information are stored on certain places. These places are called websites. And every website is made up of different web pages. So different web pages make up a website. And to identify a website, you must be able to know the web address. So each web address points to a website, just as you have your house. Your house has an address that helps people locate it. So a web address helps you locate a website. So whenever you're going through the web, generally it is said that you are browsing. Some others call it surfing. So to browse the web, it means you need to make use of an application software called web browsers. So with the help of web browsers, we can browse the web and have access to websites. There are different types of web browsers. There are so many of them. But here are a few. We have the Internet Explorer, SeaMonkey, the UC browser, Mozilla Firefox. We have Google Chrome, and we also have Opera, and there are so many other web browsers. Now we know that with internet access, we have access to the web. So let's find out the benefits of the internet. Right now, I'm sure you're thinking of some already. So the first is you get fast access to the internet. So with your computer at home, you can have access to information in China. So you see fast information. Secondly, we have cheap access to information. I'm sure you agree with me that the transport cost of getting to China to obtain information will be way higher than when you get the information through the internet from your home. Also, with the internet, you can conduct research. When you're given an assignment, of course, you need to gather information. So with the internet, you can find out more things about what you want to work on, and then your work is easier. You can also use it to communicate, to exchange information between people in different locations. With the internet, we can collaborate. To collaborate means to work in groups. Even if we're not physically together, from wherever you are, you can work together with other people because the internet is available. Also, we can learn on the web. You can learn through pictures, through videos, through sound. You can also get entertainment through the internet, be it cartoon, movies, and so on. People also use the internet to conduct businesses, so it saves their time and other resources. With the internet, you can shop from home, online shopping. You can also have it delivered to you without moving out. And then you can also get news updates. There's so much more you can do with the internet. I'm sure some of the things you use the internet to do are not on this list. That's because there's so much more you can do with the internet. But do you know that even with all these wonderful benefits of the internet, some persons still abuse the internet? Do you know how? Let's see. The first we have here is cyber theft. Because with the internet banking is now a possibility. Some other persons use that means to steal people's money and also their information, and all forms of stealing through the internet is called cyber theft. The next we have is called cyberbullying. Because people have access to the internet, they use it to spread false information about others and hurt other people and intimidate other people. It causes them some form of harm. The next we have is spam. Spam is the sending of unwanted advertisements through people's emails. So you keep receiving emails that you don't want, emails that you don't need, and it disrupts your activities. The next we have here is pornography. People make use of the internet to view the nakedness of others. And then finally we have malware. Malware are software used to harm someone else's computers. So through the internet, people can actually damage their systems if they don't know what they're doing. So far, we've learned a lot. Let's have a quick recap. We've learned that the internet is the largest computing network in the world that allows people from different parts of the world share information and communicate with one another using computers and other devices. We've also learned that internet access is sold by internet service providers called ISPs, such as Cyberspace, Smile, Spectranet, MTN, Globalcom, and so on. Also, we can connect to the internet using physical or wireless means, such as dial-up network, digital subscriber line, Ethernet cable, Wi-Fi, cellular network, or satellites. In addition, we learned that the internet access gives us access to the World Wide Web, which was invented by Sir Tim Berners-Lee in 1990. We also noted that connecting to the internet gives us access to the web, which is a large information space that can be accessed using web browsers. Next, we learned that the internet has benefited humanity a lot and has made information exchange very cheap and fast. But despite these numerous benefits, people have also devised means of using the internet for the wrong things, such as cyber theft, pornography, and cyberbullying. So when next you have access to the internet, make sure you're using it for the right reasons. So before we leave, try this out. Here's a question for you. What does www stand for? The first option is the World Web Wide. Option B, Whole Wide World. Option C, World Wide Web. Or option D, Whole World Wide. The correct option is C, World Wide Web. Let's try one more. So here's another question for you. Where does the web address point to? Option A, web browser. Option B, website. Option C, web search. Option D, web digit. The correct option is option B. It takes you to a website. And this is where we draw the curtain for today's class. I know you've learned so much about the internet. And remember, when next you have access to the internet, make sure you're using it for the right reasons. Till we meet in the next class, it's bye for now.